Hello and welcome back, artists and designers. Today we're going to go ahead and learn how to make this carrot icon here, this flat icon. And there's a number of different ways to do this, but I'm going to walk you through this method. We're going to start with some simple shapes. We're going to kind of adjust those shapes. We'll do some flat color. We'll slice up the color with the knife tool, and then we'll kind of bring everything back together so that you have, an option with the outline and an option with flat color and one that has both on it. So let's dive in and get this started here. First thing we're going to do is let's get some colors together here. So if you don't have your swatches panel open, we're going to go ahead to swatches and open those up. So with your swatches panel, we're going to go down here to libraries. And if you scroll up, you'll notice that we have one called foods. And inside of that, I'm going to go ahead and hit the vegetables icon here. And it's going to pull that up right here. If it's not in here, I'm going to add that right in. If you want to go ahead and grab another one, there's some other additional items in there. Fruit, I'll pull that one up. But I think I'm going to use the vegetables since I'm doing a carrot here today. So I'm going to have this make it kind of easy to access some colors here and keep them consistent. All right, let's start by creating a shape. Now, I could do this with the pen tool, but I'm going to go ahead and use a simple shape for this to make sure it's nice and consistent. So I'm going to do the polygon tool. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go ahead and click once. And it's going to ask me how many sides do I want? Well, I want 3 because this is a carrot. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to go ahead and flip that around. And if I hold the Shift key down on the keyboard, I am rotating that around in a nice even way. I'm going to extend this down and give this a bit more of a carrot shape here, although this is a very dangerous looking, very pointy carrot, but we'll go ahead and start with that. Now, I don't want to have any fills in this. I'm going to use just strokes to begin with, so I'm going to go ahead over here to my properties panel. I'm going to get rid of my fill for now, and I'm going to just use black strokes on this, and I'm going to crank this up to maybe like 3 points there so that it can really see what I'm doing. So I now have that, and let's go ahead and give this a more carrot-like shape. So I'm going to click on my direct selection tool here. So the direct selection tool allows us, of course, to select individual anchor points. Now, if I go right in here and click on these little circles and I start rounding this out, it's going to round all of them out together, and I'm going to get the shape that maybe works, but I want to control these a little bit more independently. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this one, or if you deselect, I can go down here, click on this anchor point. You'll see this little circle pop up, and let's round out the tip of this carrot so it's not quite so dagger-like. There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing up here. Since I have 2, I can drag my cursor over both of these, select those, and I'm going to round out the sides. And it's up to you whether you want to square off your carrot a little bit or whether you want to go all the way into that kind of perfectly rounded. Since that's what I did above, I'm going to stick with that. Okay, so now that I have the carrot shape, I'm going to go ahead and create the leaf for the top of this. So I'm going to use a very simple method to do this. I'm going to start with an elliptical shape here. So I'm going to take my elliptical shape tool and go ahead and get this leaf shape started here. So I could go ahead and I'm going to have that lined up so that that's kind of centered on here. And I could take this and I could click on the direct selection, and again, let's zoom in here and take a quick look. I could start manipulating any of these handles and do something a little bit more artistic with this leaf and do it however I want. But I'm going to keep it very simple. I'm going to click on the bottom anchor point with my direct selection tool. I'm going to go over here to my properties panel and I'm going to go ahead and click on convert to pointed anchor right there, or corner anchor. So I have that nice point there. I could do the same thing at the top if I wanted to have this kind of look, but I'm going to go ahead and leave the top rounded and the bottom will be a little bit more of a point. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and let's add 2 more copies to this. So there is a pretty fancy way to do this. If I grab the rotation tool here and I go down to the bottom and I click on this anchor point, I can click right here because it defaults to the center. But I want to pivot this right around this anchor point. So I'm going to hold my Alt key down and I'm going to click right here with my rotation tool. And it's going to say, hey, what angle do you want to rotate this at? Well, I'm going to take a guess here and let's do about, let's do 30 degrees and see what that looks like. If I preview and unpreview, that'll kind of show me what that looks like. That looks pretty good to me. Maybe I'm going to kick that down to 25. And that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and I'm going to hit copy, and you'll notice that it puts a copy of it right there. Now that I did that, I can go ahead and take that same rotation. I can right click on it. I can do transform, and I can do reflect. I'm going to go ahead and flip that over, and I'm going to say go ahead and make a copy of that. And now I'm just going to drag that over. If I hold down the shift key, it'll help kind of lock that in, and I can get all three of those lined up right there, and that looks pretty good. I think that's fairly accurate with what I had at the top. Okay, so I have all these overlapping parts right here. This is a perfect opportunity to use the shape builder. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of my leaves right there. I'm going to go over and grab my shape builder tool, and I'm going to click on that. And with this, I want to decide what do I want to keep and what do I want to leave. So I know up top I pretty much had the center leaf as the main one, and then I kept these two, click and click. I kept those two on the sides right there. Now, you could do something different if you wanted to build this a little bit differently with the shape builder. You know, you could have this leaf be in the front, and then you could have this one, and then you could have this one. It's really kind of up to you what you want to do with it. I'll keep it the way that I had it up at the top. So again, kind of combining all those together, and then I'll click this one and click this one to leave all those there. Okay, I'm now done with the shape builder. These are all three separate pieces. If I move those out, you'll be able to see those. And I've got this. I've got a little bit of funkiness happening down here, but I'm not going to worry too much about that right now, probably because I didn't have them perfectly lined up. I'm going to go ahead and grab these and do one more thing. Since I do have that slight funky look down below, I'm going to try to make sure. I'm going to grab actually everything. It's okay if I grab everything here. And I'm going to go over to my stroke menu. And inside of here, you'll notice that you've got some options, the rounded cap. I'm going to do this one, the rounded corner. And you'll notice when I click on that, those little marks kind of disappear in there because it takes anything that extends past the anchor point and kind of tightens that up and rounds that off a little bit. So I like that. I'm going to leave that where it is, and then I'm going to go ahead and move these guys back down. I could have them floating, but I'm going to go ahead and move those right back down so that they line up there. Ooh. Now I do see I have an extra little part, so let's go ahead and just select that. Get rid of it. It's gone. Okay. Take those, carefully move that right back down with my smart guides, and I think I'm pretty happy with that as my carrot icon shape. The only thing I'm missing here is to add in some of my little pencil lines, and I think I'll do that in the next video. So let's go ahead and leave this one as it is. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to go ahead, select it, hit Control G. Let's save our progress. I'm going to stop this video here, and I'll see you in the next one.